Welcome in. It's the Arrowhead Addict Chiefs halftime show. The Kansas City Chiefs leading the Detroit Lions 16-12. But let's be honest here. The score doesn't matter. If you're watching on YouTube, do me a favor and hit that like button. Let's get some more Chiefs fans in here to talk about that first half. A really fun first half, much more fun than the first preseason game against the Jacksonville Jaguars. And I'll just go straight to the chat and let where is he? Lord Swoldemort speak for all of us, who says, I am at full mast. The play of the preseason, one of this, look, it happened in a preseason game. And if for some reason you're not watching the game, Patrick Mahomes finally threw the behind the back pass in an actual NFL game. Granted, it's an exhibition game. Granted, it's a preseason game, but he did it. We've seen clips of it in practice. But on a 3rd and short, Mahomes dishes it behind his back to Travis Kelce while going to his right. Kelce catches it about the knees, picks up the first down. I think it went for 6 or 7 yards. I mean, what else can you say about Patrick Mahomes? And look, there's going to be the haters out there. I even had one. You know, he reached out to me on Twitter and said, "Dude, it went 2 yards." If you listen. I know the Chiefs are not very popular outside of Chiefs fans right now, given all the winning that they've been doing. Other NFL fans get salty. Like, I understand it. I was a Chiefs fan for my whole life and was salty that Tom Brady just wouldn't retire and just kept winning. But I didn't let it ruin my enjoyment of like watching Tom Brady when he wasn't playing the Chiefs do what Tom Brady did, be clutch, go on these late game drives, just one of the greatest winners the game has ever seen. If you are an opposing fan and you can't watch Patrick Mahomes do some of the stuff he does, and you can't watch him throw a behind the back pass in an NFL game and you can't enjoy it, like you've got a sad existence. Like, you've got to reevaluate what's important to you. I think it really kind of speaks to like a little bit of low self-esteem, frankly. At any rate, that was enough about those people. That was incredible. It was awesome. It was so cool to finally see it. And it's really like, I don't want to say it's not a dangerous play. It's an insane play. And I don't know if they'll ever actually do it in a regular season game. But like, it felt like relatively safe. And it was like a really well drawn up play. It wasn't just trickery for the sake of trickery. Nobody had any clue that was going to happen. Like, if you're a defender, there's no way you're thinking in a million years, because Patrick's rolling to his right. It's not like he's just in the backfield. He's got a back there, and he's rolling to his right. If worst case scenario, you're expecting him to turn his body back towards Kelce, but you don't have time. And if he does that, you've got time to react, right? If you're the defender, you could put your hands up, you could bat it down. That's not what happens. Boom. Like, the ball basically just disappears. And if you go back and you watch the replay, it was pretty incredible. His timing, Kelce had not even fully turned around yet when Mahomes let go of the ball. So they've obviously drilled this and drilled this and drilled this. Will we ever see it in a game? I don't know. I hope so, but maybe only if they're up a couple of touchdowns in a game. It's just too crazy. What do you guys think? Let me know in the chat. Is it too crazy for Patrick Mahomes to try that in a game that matters? Or do you want to see it? It would only add to his legend, but absolutely incredible. I've got some notes for the first half. We don't have a ton of time here, but if you got any questions, fire off in the chat. I'll try to get to them if I can. So look, not dressed for this game. And I know it's hard to tell who's out there, but not dressed for this game. We're Hollywood Brown, of course. Justin Reed, who's been injured. No Clyde Edwards-Helaire. No Nick Bolton, who's been banged up. Jalen Watson, same. Wanye Morris did not dress for this game. No Juwan Taylor. No Derek Nottie. No Chris Jones. Wanye Morris was out with a bone bruise. So Lucas Niang started on the right side there. I wasn't watching him the whole time, but not great from the couple things that I did see. He got, he couldn't get to the outside and set the edge for that screen. Excuse me. So Lucas Niang and Wanye Morris battling for that kind of backup swing tackle role. Jesus Perez says, don't do it, Patrick. Too risky. He's referring to the Patrick Mahomes behind the back pass. Weston Brewster says, so is Patrick Allen still a Kadarius Toney fan? No, sir. Kadarius Toney, by the way, committed 2 penalties on one play on his first play of the preseason, because of course he's been injured. He had a holding call and an illegal formation. So, Kadarius Toney, it's just like every time the guy gets out there, he does more harm than good. And I don't think he's going to make the team. And I don't think anybody would trade for him. I just think sunk cost. He helped you win a Super Bowl. That's great. Successful trade. Time to move on. Some other notes from the first half. As you guys now know, this is a Carson Steele fan podcast. I think this is really significant. Carson Steele is out there on the second drive with the starters. I'm going to repeat that. Carson Steele was out with Patrick Mahomes and got a carry. They're using this guy all over the place, by the way. He's returning kicks. He's playing on special teams. So Carson Steele is starting to feel more and more like a guy who the Chiefs are really intrigued by, who may make the roster. Shout out to my guy Slothy, who's a Ring of Honor member here at the Arrowhead Addict podcast and has been for 22 months. And it says, of course, Patrick Allen is a Kadarius no-knee fan. Hey, man, don't be talking smack to me on my own show. Come on. Cut me some slack here. Okay, other things really good from the first half here. Xavier Worthy flashing all over the place. He did have the fumble, but was able to recover it. But he got the nice 39-yard reception on third down. Again, look, the Lions had their backups in, or most of their backups in this game. But still, this is what you want to see. Mahomes hit him on a corner route. He was wide open, and it was not an easy catch. So you saw his ball tracking skills that we've been hearing about in camp. You saw the hands. He didn't drop it. Couple plays that, where the size came into play for me, where it looked like he was going to get blown up, and I was nervous. But, there's no denying what he can do out there running routes. Chiefs had to settle for a couple field goals with Mahomes out there, but not too concerned about that. Karlaftis had a nice speed rush, on the Lions' first offensive snap, forced an incompletion, nearly nabbed a sack. He looks like he's ready for the start of the season. Let me know in the chat things that you guys saw out there. Would love to hear your impressions as well. Try to read a couple of them. A little bit like, the defense still a little bit sloppy, discipline issues, too many men on the field on that first drive. But then they came back a little bit later, and they was on the fourth down. The Lions were going to go for it, fourth and short. Chiefs did a little move to the side, some lateral movement, caused the Lions to stand up thinking they had jumped, moved into the neutral zone. They touch the Chiefs, and that was the end of that. So some nice savvy moves there by this Chiefs defense, obviously coached by Steve Spagnuolo. Mahomes was looking for Worthy a lot, trying to get him up and going. So that was really nice to see. Let's see what some of your responses are out there. Ross continues to impress from Jeremy. Future Trunk says, I saw that Ariza is indeed the punt god. Yeah, we talked about this, right, on the pregame show. Hopefully you were there for it. He was one of the players I said I was looking forward to seeing today after kind of a so-so performance in his first game back. Looks like he's shaken off the rust. He was fantastic in that first half. Let me pull up the actual numbers here for you. He had like two 60-yard punts, and those went in the air. They didn't roll. He had a total of 3 punts for 159 yards. So it's an average of 53 yards. 2 of them were inside the 20. So it looks like he's exactly who we hoped he would be, which would be a field flipper for the Chiefs. And if he can get that, elevation and height on some of these kicks, he's really going to help out the Chiefs special teams. Some other observations from the first half here. Nice touchdown pass from Carson Wentz to Xavier Worthy. Nice move, froze his defender, ran right by him, a little stop and go. Wentz, nice anticipation. Much better showing from Wentz this time around after the sort of not really nothing burger performance that he had last week. Protection issues were really bad when he was out there, and he didn't play for very long. But so far, in this one, 5 of 10 for 31 yards, that touchdown pass. Again, he's out there with backups and third string guys and stuff like that. So I wouldn't read too much into it, but you can still see he throws a nice ball. He did overthrow Deneric Prince on a third down. Prince was open. And speaking of Deneric Prince, a nice outing from him so far. Had that nice 41-yard run. So he's got 4 carries for 48 yards in the running game. Remember, he was getting some snaps with the ones in training camp. Is still when the first official depth chart came out, he was behind CEH. So we'll see how all of that works out. And of course, now you got Carson Steele in the mix. Again, great half there by Ariza. Carson Steele had that kick return. So like I said, they're moving him all over the place. And then other kind of important news, James Winchester. I haven't seen any updates on this. He's out or questionable to return, last I saw, with a shoulder injury. Noah Gray, I didn't know this, is the backup long snapper. I thought he did a nice job. Had a couple, one was kind of low, but for just stepping in there, you can't ask for too much more. Bumpus says Worthy and Kingsley look good. FAU is the worst first round pick ever. Yeah, man, FAU's still out there. He was out there the entire first half. Get him. They want to get him the reps, but right now it's looking like he should be starting this year, right? He was a first round pick. Fine. You're a good team. You've got the depth to let him be a little bit of a project that first year, but he should be pushing for a starting role this year. So keep your eye on him and see if he's still out there in the second half. I don't know that he will be, but who knows? Luis Reese Zamet with the kick. He's another guy that he's returning kicks. He's kicking off. Dave Tope's trying to figure it out. Is this guy going to make the roster? Is Carson Steele going to take his spot? They're trying him all over the place, and he had a pretty nice return, but it's just not really enough to really know. Keith Taylor, who we talked about, the cornerback, got that nice interception in the first half. He was playing really early with some of the starters in the first preseason game. Somebody else to keep an eye on as the Chiefs have really deep defensive back. Let's see what some of the guys are saying in the chat here. Sean Browning says Dickerson is impressive on his rushes, but the secondary is collapsing. Yeah, I mean, look, the second unit secondary, a little disjointed, but again, not too much of a game plan there. Good tackle by Miller, says Slothy. Justin Ross whiffed on that Kadarius Toney screen with his block, just kind of calling that out. With a guy with a little bit of size like that, you'd like to see him lock that down. Oh, and Jaden Hicks continues to flash. Had a nice pass breakup in the end zone there at the end of the first half. Probably got away with a little bit of a hold there. These refs are letting them play. But part of being a smart and savvy defensive back is knowing what you can get away with, right? So that comes with the territory. He knew he could get away with it, or he gave it a shot. It's better than giving up the touchdown. He got away with it. Thomas Cooney says linebackers didn't look good. I didn't see a ton of linebacker play, to be honest with you. Cliff says, I wish they would give Frank Clark a call. He's sitting out there somewhere. I think Frank's probably toast. He's a good locker room guy. It just depends on how many roster spots you have, but you got to try to develop FAU, man. Unless you think he's just absolutely a huge bust, I say develop FAU, get him rocking and rolling to be at least a rotational piece for you. You got him on the contract, the rookie contract, and you've got 5 years of control if you decide that you want it. And then Butker, special teams much better this week, both on the kickoff coverage that forced a fumble and the punting been fantastic. And Butker continues to be nails, hits a 56-yarder. No sweat, right? So he was 3 for 3 in that first half and hit his extra point as well for 10 points. Any last thoughts from the chat before we head to the second half? As far as what I'm going to be looking for, one, who is out there, right? Is it the backup of the backups? Actually, they're just getting started. So I'm going to get out of here. We'll let you get to the second half. I'll be back after the game. We'll do another breakdown. And shout out to Slothy for the super chat. He says, of course, you didn't need to see the linebacker play. All right. Chiefs are back out there. I got to get back in the living room so I can see what's going on. We'll see you after the game right here on the Arrowhead Addict YouTube channel for our Chiefs post-game show. Thanks for your participation until after the game. As always, go Chiefs.